So today I'm going to um, talk about Tony Stark's chart, and it's just a for entertainment purposes, obviously. But like I thought it would be a very interesting topic to talk about because before this I was like looking at the one of the reviews about um, Iron Man's trilogy, Iron Man's film trilogy, and so I thought it would be a good idea to like try to dissect what would be the personality of Tony Stark himself. So I think the key thing about it is that he's a person. Do you think he's a person who likes to be? No, not really, right? Yeah. So he's a person who likes to do right by people, and he's a person that is really um a person that is very keen on keeping promises, and this is kind of more towards Aquarius, which is kind of like verbal integrity, and Pisces, which is more right upright conduct and right action. So these two are kind of like more towards his kind of fundamental core personality, right? Or his core personality that aligns with that aligns well with developing virtues. And so this is an important thing. And so we from this aspect we can deduce that his ascendant is actually Virgo. A first half has a mix of Virgo and Libra. Uh, it's a person that one. Yeah, it's like in Iron Man 2, right? It was saying like he was trying to dance with the Parliament clowns and the Iron Man 2, right? Virgo, right? A person who is less obsessed about um, wealth, and he's you know being wanted to be adulated, to be praised about it, and so this is like kind of like emotional management. So that makes sense with the Virgo part too, and it seems like he's a person who works with um, the military a lot. Military, there's a large part, at least in the modern military. I don't know about the traditional military or like the ancient military, but at least in the modern military, it seems like he deals a lot with military deals a lot with external change of behavior and discipline, and so that would make sense because, like I said, Capricorn is also like more external, so that would make sense that that gave him enough money to like um enough money to you know sustain his life. Like you can also see like in some parts he was like a person who is very productive and self-sufficient, but not self-sufficient in a way that is very traditionally, right? It's kind of like more towards um, adapting to new situation and changing his own behavior, like more externally speaking. So that would lines up with Capricorn fourth house really well too. And so we can look at here, Sun Taurus in the eighth house. Probably something like, something like very, if it's like meditation subjects, probably something like more towards reflecting on food requisites. When we call in Chinese, we call 如理神思,对食物的如理神思. You can also something like contemplation of virtue, that also works, because that is more like um, that's more very like generosity, like reflecting on generosity, right? The contemplation and recollection of reflecting of on generosity, That's also works, right, with meditation subjects. Eighth house, um, Taurus is a more of a visionary, kind of like a visionary. So it might need a special instruction, like Nanda's instruction. Maybe a different that one, but it's definitely something very um a very different. It's like kind of like using it a visionary of a material object or material comfort, like kind of like using a meditation object and a visionary visionarize it. I don't know. It's like there's is there a word called visionarize it? And then try to like find the foundations for the that kind of material object to like transform the kind of non-dependence on physical stimulus. So that is something. If Tony Stark is a real person, right? Here's what I can do if he's still alive, obviously. You know, right? This is why I would tell him about his meditation subjects. This is down. Anything else? His character is more towards that one. There's not really much I can do, honestly. Um, People who can put up with his bullshit a lot can like really earn his respect, and he most likely would treat them well uh by what is it called? Following or like respecting or what they call 遵守 by abiding, upright conduct back towards them as a reciprocation. So you see that Pepper Potts is a very emotionally resilient person. You can see that to his partner. So that's why like he says he cares a lot more about Pepper than other people, because the way that Pepper is emotionally resilient helps Tony to be a lot more upright when it comes to respecting people, cherishing people, or like just not steal anything in general. You can see like a lot of people around Tony are very emotionally resilient. Happy is also very emotionally resilient. The closest people. I don't know if Peter is also emotionally resilient. I know Happy and Pepper are. Anything else? Not really much. He spent a lot on. Yeah, he spent a lot. Yeah, he spent a lot on wines as well, but because of his insecurity, not because he has actually any. He's someone who is like very easily addictive, but that makes sense because like when you don't really know is something transcendental, like unbinding element or like jhanas, like do they exist or not, you will um just use a lot of drinks and wine, or like something um very grounded, right? Very like basically like fruit, blueberries, like those things can help you ground your insecurities and your anxieties, because it it suppresses your anxiety of not having found the unwinding element, or like the unarising element, and then you kind of use food or drinks to like um what do you call what is called anesthetic in like Chinese. There was something called ma zui. I just don't know what the English word was. Narcosis? Not narcosis. Try to. I'm not sure. Is this called ma zui? Like you use that to like very blind yourself to like try to escapism, right? It's kind of the way to escapism, because not because you are physically obsessed with things necessarily. This is different from something like Taurus in the second house, right? Whereas Taurus in second house is definitely more on the physically obsessive type, whereas Scorpio is more like you use that as a way to escape the anxiety of not knowing if the unbinding element exists, or that you does that mean you should give up on your visions of getting financial satisfaction or like material satisfaction. It's different between material satisfaction and material contentment, between those two, and like material obsessive. I think that's important. Like Scorpio is kind of like the former one, but sometimes it's like you don't have a alternative pillar to rely on. Right? There's no you don't not sure about I money element, which is like kind of a very common theme among people that expresses a lot of Scorpio. So that would make sense for Tony to like in Iron Man 2 at least, to like be like that, to use things to escape himself when he was near dying in the Iron Man 2 series. And this is my opinion about Mr. Tony Stark's chart. So thank you guys for watching.